Hello friends! Today I thought I would share with you some of my favorite historically inspired video games. Most of these games I've actually personally played, so I hope I can kind of give you a great review of them that will help you decide which, if any of these, you're interested in downloading and purchasing for yourself. Of course, this list is not definitive. There are so many more that I haven't even tried. Also, look, there's Penelope. Hi, Penelope. She's currently upset with us because we threw away her emotional support box. But anyways, the first one I wanted to talk about is Banished. And Banished is one of my all-time favorite games. It has a really huge modding community, and it is a medieval city builder. However, some of the best mods for this are the Mega Mod and Colonial Charter. If you've just downloaded this game and you're interested in kind of expanding it, I definitely recommend starting with the Colonial Charter mod first. It's really fantastic. And of course, there aren't necessarily social classes in Banished. There's a really good trading system and trading community, and of course there are upgrades that you can make to houses. However, your individual little bannies don't necessarily have their own skill set. They do have a name and an age, and they can get married and have children, so you can kind of see your bannies go from generation to generation, although there's not really an easy family tree tracker or anything like that. So if you're kind of invested in specific families, then maybe this game isn't for you. However, if you are really interested in concepts of expanding your city, doing resource chains, oh my gosh, the resource chains in this are just chef's kiss. They are so good. You start off with a very few core items, different types of fruits and vegetables, and things that you can grow in crops, as well as orchards and stuff like that. You can harvest the animals for meat, for dairy, you can make cheese, you can make all types of bread products. It's really fantastic. And this game is honestly fairly affordable. It usually has a lot of sales. The next one I wanted to talk about is Dawn of Man. Now, Dawn of Man, I will kind of warn you, although it works on a Mac, so you can download this if you are a Mac player, I will say it does kind of eat up your CPU or GPU pretty quickly. And so when I used to play this on my old MacBook, I really struggled with a lot of lagging. It is a little bit deceivingly complicated, I would say. However, if you have a really good cleaned computer, then absolutely give this a go. What makes this game really unique, it has advancement trees, and so you go through the different ages, to the Iron Age, etc., and you get access to different types of buildings, different types of tools. It's really quite neat. I will say that you do kind of go through the different eras fairly quickly, and there's not really a whole lot that actually differentiates the eras too much, and there's not really a lot that differentiates one city from another. So it's not like you can build one node that really focuses on something and another node that focuses on something else. I will say that when I played this game, I played it all the way through and enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it. It worked beautifully like butter on my PC. I didn't really feel like I needed to play it a second time, starting over. So the game maybe doesn't really have a lot of replay capability. Now, the next game is Ostriv, and you guys know that I absolutely love Ostriv. It is an 18th century Eastern European city builder by a Ukrainian developer, and it's pretty much just one guy as far as I'm aware, and he, let me tell you, does his research. Everything is thoughtfully curated. Everything happens in this game at a bit of a slower pace than might happen in Banished, for instance, but honestly, that's kind of the charm of the game. The soundtrack is beautiful. When you zoom in, you can hear birds and rustling trees, and it's just really peaceful. It's really calming. The repercussions aren't near as severe as you would find in Banished, so your citizens aren't going to end up dying of starvation. If they run out of food, they simply move out. And as long as you have like available food, available jobs, and housing, new citizens will move in from out of town. And it's just such a dynamic and beautiful game. It's currently in alpha, and of course that's a little bit on pause at the moment because of, well, you know, the war and all of that situation. The economy is really hard to balance in this game. It's beautiful and it's intricate, and I will say that. I'm excited to see what the modding community does end up developing once the game is like fully released and not in alpha or beta anymore, because I think it has the potential to be a spiritual successor to Banished in a way that we've just been trying to dig our claws into for the last several years. We're constantly talking about Banished 2.0, and this one I think is a little bit lesser well known, but I think it has the most potential. It runs beautifully on my PC. Unfortunately, it's not available for Mac at the moment, although I think that actually is on the docket for future edits. And the animals are really cool in this game. You can actually do plowing, so you can have oxen, you can do plowing of fields. The chain resources are so neat, although still a little bit simple. And something that is really simple but really incredible is the seasons in this game. As you watch the snow melt, you're just kind of transported into Eastern Europe in the 18th century, and you're standing there watching the snow melt and spring thaw, and it's really just like a bit of a therapeutic game. And so if you're looking for something with kind of like a little bit of a clearer tutorial, something that you can't mess up, I think this is the game for you. Now, another one is Life is Feudal. I've dabbled around with this game, and let me tell you, it is hard. It is so hard. This game in particular is often referred to as Banished 2.0, just with better graphics. I will say the graphics are gorgeous. From the water to the landscaping, it's all beautiful. There is a bit of terraforming and like landscaping that you can do. I find that a little bit clunky. I don't know if it's been updated recently and maybe it's been fixed a little bit, but I will say that I had some issues trying to place like buildings on hills because you have to flatten it out first, and it's a little bit hard to navigate, and you can really only build like on flat land, which gets a little bit tricky because then you're just flattening out everything, and that feels a little unrealistic to me. There are a lot of consequences to this game. I actually really struggled to make it past the first few years because everyone ends up dying. It is hard. It is so hard. If you are looking for an easy, slow-paced game, then definitely do Ostriv instead of this. However, if you like the challenge, if you like the consequences, if you want your citizens to struggle, then this is definitely the game for you. It's hard, but it's beautiful. I mean, look at these graphics. There are so many different aspects to this game, and it actually takes into consideration a lot of details, and I think the details are actually what makes it really challenging. Now, another game that is really hard is Age of Empires 4. This game is, it's so fun and addictive, but I can't win. I just can't win. And like, I am not exactly like the best person when it comes to fast-paced clicking on your mouse games. I will say it is a lot of fun. There are campaign modes in this game that are so historically accurate and really bring you into the history of it. And as a historian, I absolutely love that. I think it's so neat. It tackles like some real life warfare tactics, and it teaches you as you go. I would say the campaigns and the tutorials are really crucial. I made the mistake of being like, I don't need the tutorials, I can just give it a go. Wrong. I was 100% wrong, even though I had been watching videos of it. Now, this game has a lot of different cultures to it, each have their own pros and cons. It's really quite enjoyable, and I love the aesthetics that they've kind of like dove into. It's very much a successor of the past Age of Empires, and it does bring a little bit of that nostalgia to it. And so if you're looking to get into any of these like competitive games, I know there's a pretty big community that plays this competitively, then this is a really great game for you, especially if you're someone who prefers like StarCraft and League of Legends. If you're interested in moving from StarCraft into a game that is like more historical, I think this is a fantastic game. And some of the monuments that you can build are so cool. So the next game is really a spiritual successor to RimWorld. It has some really fun cartoony aesthetics to it. You have a lot of control over building different aspects of your town. Growth happens very, very slowly. So if you're really into expansion, maybe it's not the best game for you, but it is like, it's really cool in the fact that your individual citizens, because there are fewer of them, have their own personalities. You end up with a bunch of these kind of chance card scenarios, as I understand is similar to RimWorld, and there are, of course, consequences. You have like raiders kind of come back and visit. Now, speaking of slightly cartoonier styles, we've kind of ranged from realistic to cartoony here, but this is Foundation. And Foundation is a game that I'm particularly really excited to see as it continues to grow and expand. It's already grown so much since I first downloaded it. I believe it's still in alpha or beta, and the aesthetics are just really, really nice. It incorporates area zoning, and so you kind of give a portion of your control to the people in your towns. And so you designate areas for them to build residential homes, and they will automatically build the homes that they need. Also, you can spam sheep, and I love the sheep. The sheep are so freaking cute in this game. I can't even handle it. And something else that's really, really cool about this game is the fact that you can do a lot of customization. So most buildings, other than kind of like the chain resource buildings, you can completely customize. You can add extensions, you can add towers, doors, windows. Building churches and castles in this game, oh, it's incredible. It's so satisfying. It's really, really fun, and I haven't played around with the modding community, but I imagine as the game continues, the modding community is going to be fantastic. Now, this game takes up so much of my time whenever I play it. This is Anno 1800. I have not played any of the previous Anno games. This was my very first Anno game, and I find it so fun and so challenging. The first couple times I played it, I really struggled to balance the economy, and so economy balancing and resource management is really important with Anno, but this game has a little bit of everything. You can go to war, you have diplomatic relationships with the other civilizations, with the other countries, and so you have to sort of navigate these relationships. You have like miniature quests. You can send ships on adventures to collect things that you can place in museums, in zoos, and botanical gardens. It's really quite nice. It does explore a lot of the social class systems of the 19th century. And for the 19th century, as a historian, I say that is a very important aspect. I have almost all of the DLC. And this game you can play over and over and over again. So there's like a lot of replayability here, and it explores a lot of like technological developments in this era that are so cool. We have like penny farthings and eyeglasses and light bulbs. And so as you develop your civilization, you are expanding onto different countries, into different worlds per se, and you're advancing your citizens up throughout the social classes. And as you do it, you make more and more money, and you can build more and more extravagant things. It's so good. Now, this game I actually haven't played yet. This is Medieval Dynasty. I'm very excited to give this game a go. I don't play a lot of first-person games, which is why I haven't purchased this yet. However, This game is highly detailed. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more first person, a little slower developing, but more focused on the minutia, like collecting enough things to actually build your own homes. You have repercussions. We have like fighting with animals, and so animals are kind of predators, and you can also do hunting in this game. And it's really neat. If you're more into console games, I would definitely say giving Medieval Dynasty a chance. Now, this one isn't released yet, but I wanted to include this because I think it needs to be on your radar. This is Manor Lords, and it looks a lot similar to Banished, to Ostriv, to Life is Feudal Forest Village. There are a lot of similarities here. However, if you just look at the map, you can see how beautiful it is. It's kind of on the more realistic side, I think more similar to Ostriv than perhaps like Foundation's cartoony side. And it looks like the roads actually develop naturally as your people walk around them, and that is the same as like Ostriv and Foundation, and that's, I think, really, really cool. You can see here that the building process is also beautiful. It's intricate. I have been closely watching the development of this for literally the past 2 years, hoping that they would release it into alpha. You can see we have plowing, and look at the swaying wheat. I'm just a little bit obsessed with this game, and it's not even out yet. I don't know when it's going to be out, but it needs to be on your radar. I think it even said there's going to be a form of like fighting as well, and so we don't have a lot of like fighting or like wars involved with many of these city builders. So I'm really excited to see what the developers do with this. I think it's going to be one of the standout games of the decade when it comes to city builders, historical city builders. So that is going to be where we end off today. Let me know if I did not cover your favorite historical video game. What do I need to add to my own collection? What can be in part 2 of this video? So thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate your presence, and I will see you next time. Bye!